Happy Tuesday, first day of the semester. Calc 3?
Yep.
Excellent. Don't worry, if you're in the wrong class, by the midpoint when we start looking at multiple integrations, you run away screaming and crying. O1230 is the course code, section 9. You're going to need to know those if you contact me. For credit full term, we meet September 3rd to December 11th. That is the semester date with finals after that. Is a reading and review day, which means no reading, no reviewing will be done on that day. Why they give it, I don't know, but they do. Final exam will be announced later. The college typically sends that out end of October, beginning of November, sometime around there, with the final exam schedule. Calc 2 with a C- or better. Unless they tell me otherwise, this room, 2102, every Tuesday and Thursday, 5 to 6:40. I thought there's supposed to be more there. Check. Oh, no, okay. I'm just hallucinating. It's okay. All right, so my name is James Zucker. The best way to contact me is through Microsoft Teams. You should have received a message already through Teams. It's the general announcements channel. That is where I will send announcements out. I do recommend you download Teams for your phone. This way you'll get an alert like that. Whenever you reach out to me, make sure that you include the course and section. I do try to respond within 2 business days. That's Monday through Friday, excluding holidays. I generally check between 9 and 5. Say. If you don't receive a response from me within that time frame, just send another message. One of 2 things happened: I just forgot, or it got lost. If you do email me, make sure you do so only from your Rowan account. I tend not to open external messages. Bachelor of Science in Physics with a minor in Astronomy. Also a Bachelor's of Arts in Mathematics. I got those from here in 2013. I also earned my Master's of Arts in Mathematics in 2015. Right after that, I started professionally. But I served as a paid and volunteer tutor long before that. Back to my high school days, which was back in the Stone Age. I'm interested in all the applications of mathematics. Obviously, heavier emphasis on physics and astronomy, since I did major in those, as well as economics, accounting, and financing. I do teach at 3 schools. Currently have 6 classes. My favorite number. You should know that number since you had Calc 2.
Golden ratio.
It's the golden ratio. limit of the n plus 1 Fibonacci number over the n Fibonacci number as n goes to infinity. Oh, that's right, I have to fix it on here too. For some reason the animations got messed up. Now, this will be brownie points if you recognize this. No. I didn't think so. Those are the Einstein field equations from general relativity. That's 16 equations. And as a fair warning to all of you, I love trig. We'll be using trig a lot. I'm also currently looking to continue my education, either PhD in applied math or an MSA, MSF dual program. Just have to wait for my wife to finish. Student hours, you can drop in Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, 1 to 3 o'clock. My office is James Hall, 1124. It's located downstairs, back of the building. There's that small hallway with the double doors. I'm right in there. You can also schedule a virtual appointment with me. You just click on that link. And general appointments Monday through Friday, 1 to 3. I do require 24-hour notice, which is why tomorrow's grayed out. You just click on the day, the time, next, fill out information, hit submit. You should receive an email confirming the submission. I will then create a link for the meeting, and you'll receive an email with that link from me. OpenStax Calculus Volume 3. Free open source. Taking a look at that later. Office 365, you all have access to it as well as students. We'll be using WebAssign. That is the course code. will need a license. OpenStax assures me that the cost of the license is between $26 and $40 for the semester, which is actually cheap compared to what other licenses are. They normally run like $90. My Cap 1 was $30. TI-89 or equivalent. That is the department required calculator, TI-89. I use the CX2. It's more powerful. It's currently the best model out there for TI. I just checked that the TI-89 on Amazon runs 160. No, that was the Inspire. It was like 160 and some change for the CX2. I think the 189 was like 120, something like that. And in the bookstore, it's probably like 300 because they jack up their prices. Mathematica, we will be using it a lot. For virtual appointments, microphone and webcam will be required. Obviously Canvas, and then Teams for messaging. As per our own policy, attendance is required at every meeting. You're expected to arrive on time, stay throughout the entire duration. I'm also required to record and submit attendance. So at every meeting, there's going to be a QR code on the door. When you arrive, you need to scan it to check in. When you leave, you need to scan it to check out. For purposes of submission for financial aid, as long as you scan it just once, you'll be marked as being here. Usually, I think financial aid just cares that you're attending the class. That is where I need both of them. Give them accurate reflection. If you do not do both, on my end, you will not receive credit for being here for that day. There's a 10-minute grace period. All right, so to get full credit, you just have to scan in before the 10-minute grace period ends and be in class for that entire duration. Half credit, you just have to be here for at least half of the meeting. While attendance will not directly impact your grade, right? There's no category for attendance. If you're borderline and you have a good attendance record, I tend to bump you up to the next level. Whereas if you don't have a good attendance record, then you just stay right there. All right, so the grading scale, the web assigned assignments will be 10% collectively. There will be projects, probably somewhere between 3 and 4. There'll be 15%. Quizzes will be 20%. Discussions, journals, only 5, and then exams, 3, collectively will be 50%. And then the standard round breakdown. more information, the syllabus is posted onto Canvas. Briefly go through some of it. 2 ways to access, to get to the textbook. You can either click that link there or just go to that URL that's provided. Come on, there you go. It brings you right to this page, and then you have 3 ways to access it, either the online version, download a PDF, or order a hard copy. Click the buy print copy, it takes you to their new publisher. It used to be done through Amazon, at least as of last spring. Not last spring, this past spring. It was still done through Amazon, now it's Kendall Hunt. So black and white version will run you $30, print in color will run you $40. Through here, I don't know what the bookstore charges. Probably more. But again, the hard copy is not required. It's only if you're old school like me and you have to have a physical copy. Office 365, there are instructions there, but the easiest way is just go to office.com and sign in using your own credentials. Canvas. Right, obviously electronic copy of the syllabus is up there. I do tend to keep that up to date. View course materials, videos, notes, handouts, so on and so forth. Most assignments are going to be done through Canvas, so you submit them there. And obviously your up-to-date grade will be there as well. Oops, that's the wrong window. That's the right window. I'm not signed in, so let's log in. Right, so syllabus, like I said, already up there. You have academic calendar registration dates up there as well for your convenience. 4 handouts. Basic functions and identities, review of calculus, table of derivatives, table of integrals. You'll be able to use all 4 of those on any assignment. And then there's links for the textbook and WebAssign. And then there's obviously going to be modules with the materials. Two ways to get registered for the course. First way is to open the syllabus and click that link. It takes you right to the registration page. The second way is to go to webassign.net and enter the class key that was on the slides. They should not be available yet. They should not be available to me. Why are they available to me? Pardon me. That's better. As I write the assignments, they're just going to be available throughout the entire term. Obviously, they are going to have due dates, but you can work ahead if you want to, and that's why I'm just going to make them available throughout the entire term. There's one restriction. You have to take the prerequisite diagnostic first, and then that will unlock your assignments. The prerequisite diagnostic is not going to count towards your grade. It's just going to measure your preparedness, so it's going to test algebra, Calc 1 and Calc 2 stuff. If you can't get at least a 70 on it, I do recommend you see me. You're not required to drop the course, but you may struggle. Specifically if you're not comfortable with algebra. That's probably going to be the hardest thing we do this semester is the algebra. And it is really intense. Each homework has two, right? The prep and then just the homework. The prep is not required, doesn't count towards your grade. It's just walk-through tutorial assignments that are very similar, if not identical, to the actual homework itself. So it kind of guides you through the problem step by step. So if you're struggling, you can just open that and do that. Like I said, it's not required. It's just the homeworks that will be required. First one will be due September 12th. I do recommend you get the prerequisite diagnostic done ASAP, so you have access to all of the assignments. Mathematica, a very powerful computer algebra system. This semester we won't actually write any code, so to speak, because there's no numerical methods we need to do. However, when we get to multiple integration, it is extremely handy to visualize the areas, the domains of integration, so to speak. So I will be relying on it heavily. That link apparently doesn't work anymore. Which is odd because it worked last week when I actually, or not last week, what was it, 2 weeks ago when I wrote the syllabus? It worked then. Now it doesn't. It gives me the dreaded 404. Just go to rowan.edu/math. Scroll down to software for our courses. How to get Mathematica students. There was an issue earlier. Now we're charging. There was an issue earlier where when you create an account, you have to verify your email address. And the link sent you to a page not found. Don't know why. You're still able to download it though. I just don't know if it actually went into registration.
I think it does work. I downloaded it, but I'm pretty sure the verification still doesn't work.
Did it let you register the product with the key when you signed in?
Yeah.
Okay, so that shouldn't be a problem then. Hopefully not a problem. Yeah, I have no idea why it's not working. Yeah, technology. But just follow those instructions to get the desktop version. You can also use the online version if you want. It's not as powerful as the desktop version. One of the biggest limitations being when you rotate it, you can rotate the images. When you copy the image, it copies the original image from the web version, whereas the desktop version actually saves it as an image as you rotate it. So I will be using the desktop version. And it's free when you're affiliated with Rowan. Right. So what we've done so far in calculus, differential calculus, integral calculus, and series. We now move on to what is known as multivariate calculus. So we're going to take everything we did in Calc 1 and Calc 2 and apply it to more than 2 dimensions. So we look at 2-variate functions, which are 3 dimensions. 3-variate functions are 4 dimensions. You can go higher than that. You can look at, if you're a masochist, 9-variate functions, 10 dimensions, which is string theory, 9 spatial dimensions plus 1 for time, which is fun. Generally speaking, that first half of the course will lull you into a false sense of security. You'll get through that and you're like, oh, I get an A. This is easy. I walk out with an A. That was weird. Multiple integration is very tough. Think of Calc 2 integrals. Those, integration by parts, partial fraction decomposition, trig sub, infinite intervals, discontinuity in intervals. Okay, now do that 2 or 3 times. Oh, and the region of integration is a lot harder to find. It's no longer just an interval. It's either a 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional region of integration. And I generally don't give you the limits. It's your job to set the limits up properly. Right, so that's like first half, you're walking. Just walking in a nice field. Rainbows, butterflies, unicorns, nice paradise. And then you hit like a 500-foot wall, straight vertical. That's multiple integration. You finally get to the top. And find there's another 500-foot wall. Vector calculus takes everything from calculus and puts it into one chapter. So that vector calculus, that last thing we do, is going to combine all of Calc 1, 2, and what we've done in 3 up to that point. The ultimate goal of the calculus sequence are those 3 theorems right there. Green's theorem, Stokes' theorem, divergence theorem. That is what we build up to. Calc 2 doesn't really have a purpose. It just kind of exists. Calc 1, the whole purpose was fundamental theorem of calculus. Okay. You're expected to know all of the ground policies. Late submission. I don't accept late submissions. I don't think we're going to have any assignments that have to be turned in class aside from exams. We do them in class. So you don't have to worry about making arrangements to turn it in late. You submit it online by the deadline. Exams, I do have it planned out right now to be in class, all three. If you have to miss, you need to reach out to me as soon as possible. You look familiar.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Nice semester.
I get to torch you for a second time. Yes. Oh, which means now I'm really upset that you didn't know the golden ratio. Because we did that in Calc 2. That makes me sad. So you need to contact me prior to the exam to make arrangements to take it. I do post exam solutions. They are scheduled to post right after the exam ends. Once they post, you cannot take the exam. So if you're going to miss, you need to let me know so I can change when they post. If you've looked through Canvas, you should see an extra credit assignment already. So obviously I will be offering extra credit. How much, I don't know. It's purely at my discretion, so don't ask. I did go through the attendance recording. Cell phone policy, with the exception of recording your attendance at the start and end, I asked that cell phones be put on silent and put away. Don't want to see them. Which means you're in a lot of trouble because you sit right in front of me. Civility, you're expected to be civil to each other, be polite, don't cause distractions, and just generally don't be a nuisance to me or your classmates. I do record all class meetings. Camera's up here. I also screen record in case something goes wrong with this recording. I do post these on Canvas shortly after the meeting. I try to get them up within a day, but they do tend to take a while to render. I should have them up by the end of the week. I also reserve the right at the end of the semester to publish them. Main source will be on my YouTube channel, but I'm also going to publish them on Rumble because YouTube is getting absolutely ridiculous with their ads. As of right now, I've still been able to use my ad blocker, but they're apparently making it so you can't use an ad blocker. So they're going to make you, watch 40 minutes of ads for a 3-minute video. I don't see any of that ad revenue. Like I said, that won't be until after the semester ends, is when they'll go public. Not before. If you're struggling, seek immediate assistance. Right? This includes dropping by my office hours, schedule an appointment, seek out tutoring, either through Savitz or in the math department. I recommend the math department because they're actual math majors, and it's run by the department. Not heard good things about Savitz, but that's just hearsay. I have no idea. AI. ChatGPT has become advanced enough to do math. I tested this. Now, they have made mistakes, because I have noticed that. So now I have to actually include this statement in there. While AI is fine to use as a tool for support, so like helping you to generate an idea for something, it cannot actually be used to do the assignment for you. Using it in such a way will be considered a violation of academic integrity and would be treated as such. If you're unsure of whether you can use AI in a specific way, just reach out to me. Like I said, web assigned will be assigned throughout the semester. I'm not sure on how many actual homework assignments there will be. For each problem, you're going to be given 5 chances, no penalty. However, after the 5th, you don't get any more chances. So then you just won't receive credit for that problem. There will be 3 exams given. I have it laid out to be 5 weeks, 5-week blocks. Exams are non-comprehensive. So the final exam will be exam 3, which will only cover the final 5 weeks. I hate comprehensive exams. They're stupid and pointless. Exams in general are stupid and pointless. But I have to get them. There's going to be 4 quizzes. I have them set up to be approximately every 4 weeks. And again, quizzes will just cover that 4-week period. I already mentioned there's probably going to be somewhere between 3-4 projects assigned. They are group assignments. You don't get to choose your group. In fact, I believe I already wrote the first project. Message. Cool. All right, so if you go to people, groups for the first project have already been assigned. They tell me that you get your own group discussion board. I wouldn't know because I'm not a student, so I don't get to see that. I think the first project is set up to go live next week. And you have 2 weeks to work on it. We do the 26th. And then there'll be discussions in journals given throughout as well. First discussion, first journal is already up. Right, so in general, pick a topic that you have to discuss, right? So you're going to answer prompts and reply to classmates. Could also be watching a video and discussing that video. In general, the journals are probably going to be read an article and reflect and react. So the first journal is handwriting and its effect on brain activity. It's actually pretty cool. I went through that. All right, you have to read through all of this. That you get to read through on your own. Right, and then at the end is the course schedule. Note that everything contained within the syllabus is an object of my whim. I can at any time, for any reason, change something. Philly got kicked out of postseason. I decided, I'm going to give you a 4th exam. Because now I'm in a bad mood. And I'll make it comprehensive. I'm allowed to do that. And I don't even have to notify you. But I generally do. I'm going to make a change. I do generally notify you. Okay. It's your responsibility to check the electronic syllabus on campus occasionally. Like I said, if I make a change, I do update it on campus as well. I don't think I told you the screen recording software I use. I use OBS. And that's generally how the screen sharing goes too. I just share it through OBS. It's easier. All right, so I just kind of went through that, but read through the syllabus for a more complete breakdown. As you are no doubt aware at this point, mathematics is a participation sport. You're not really going to learn it too well just by watching me do it. You actually have to be active. That does include, dare I say it, the 5-letter P word. Reading proofs and understanding them. Try and follow along the proof. Try to understand the logic behind it. Why something is the way it is. This could take several read-throughs. But if you understand the proof, you're going to have a deeper understanding of what's actually going on. When studying is best to do so, well, not being completely comfortable. Right? Don't do it in bed. Don't be in your pajamas. I would say make yourself uncomfortable, but not so much that it's distraction. They also say that if you have background music playing, is that outside? That's nice.
Background music.
That's an annoying one. But they do say that if you have background music playing softly in the background, it helps you with recollection. I wouldn't know. I was that student who didn't study. I studied once and failed. I never did again. I learned my lesson. Do not wait until the last minute to start an assessment. And yes, I do realize that this is probably falling on deaf ears, and you're going to ignore me. But it's there anyway. If you're struggling, I already mentioned this, seek immediate help. Do not, at the end of term, come up and ask me if there's any way to boost your grade, because the answer is no. You want to avoid this situation by following advice previous, by seeking immediate help. Once you fall behind, it's very unlikely you're going to catch up. And there's one rule that you must always follow. Have fun. Any questions?
In the syllabus, the week-by-week breakdown, we have chapters and then the assignments at the end of the chapters. Does the WebAssign homework correspond with
It should, because it's from that textbook.
Oh, okay. So that the problem.
Again, WebAssign, OpenStack's corroboration with WebAssign is relatively new,
Okay.
which is why I'm now using WebAssign. I used to use MyOpenMath, but I mean, that's got a lot of problems with it.
Okay. So
It is free, but it has a lot of problems because it's free. So I'm now using WebAssign because they work together. So these questions come from the textbook.
Oh, okay.
So they should be very, very similar to those practice exercises.
Okay. So that's how we're meant to do it.
Right. So obviously the ones on the syllabus
Right.
are just ungraded as practice.
Right. Sure.
The ones that are on WebAssign are the ones that are going to be graded.
Yes. Okay. Is it is WebAssign is it multiple choice? Enter a number. Do a
Variety of them.
Okay.
I tend to avoid multiple choice
sure.
for the
Then you get
homework.
5 choices. Yeah. Thank you.
Where can we find the dates for the exams?
They should should be on the schedule. Oh, you can't see that screen. Okay. Why can't you? Oh, duh, because it's still in presentation. There you go. And so, like I said, at the end of every 5th week, there's going to be the exam, but they are listed on the schedule. So first exam figure around the October 3rd. And quizzes at the end of every 4th week, but they'll be done on campus.
So I write my notes on my iPad, so when I bring notes in for the quizzes or tests, can I use this or should I just print it out?
So it depends. In class, yes, I don't care. I'm just going to make sure that you're on airplane mode. I'll just periodically go through and make sure that your device is on airplane mode. If for some reason you have to take it in the test center, I do not think they allow electronic devices, so you have to print them out.
Mathematica. If we didn't have like Calc 1 and 2 here, we obviously might not have much experience, if any, with Mathematica. How much of a problem do you think that'll be? Like, are we going to be using it to such an extent where we'll have to have a
So a lot of what you're going to be using it for, I do in class as well.
Okay.
But as with anything, so Mathematica itself is a language.
Yes.
So as with any language, when you're first learning, it's extremely difficult. But once you get familiar with it, it'll be like second nature. So you probably will struggle, even with me doing the class.
Sure.
You're probably still going to struggle with it.
Right.
There is a documentation center online.
Like the syntax and stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the actual syntax of the language itself.
Yes. Gotcha.
There is a documentation center.
Yep.
I don't know if you can see the URL. And then you can search in what you want. So again, this is, I say, relatively new, because Mathematica is up to, well, the language itself is called Wolfram. Mathematica is the actual program. When I first started using it, Wolfram was version 4. It's now version 14. Back in my day, we didn't have an online documentation center. Our documentation center was about a 6,000 page book. I mean, I kid you not, it was that thick. It was a deadly weapon. It built character if you carried it around. It also screwed up your back. But now you can just search it up. And it actually even gives you color codes now on errors, and it tells you what the error is when you do it. Again, back in my day, it didn't do that. It just wouldn't run. And then you were like, well, why not? Now it gives you hints and tells you what's wrong. So it's becoming user-friendly, let's put it that way. And again, if you need help, just reach out to me or something. I'll try and guide you through it.
Yeah, I was poking around in it a little bit, like.
It does statistics stuff now, which is really cool. It didn't used to be able to do that. Looks like it does like engineering. So it's now it's like its own search. It has Wolfram Alpha Plus now. It's really evolved. It's really a nice feature.
Sorry. Are we concerned about the QR code potentially today?
So for today, I'm lenient. Just scan on your way out, and it'll count. But that's only for today. Okay, because obviously you didn't know the policy until just now. I'm not that much of an evil bastard that I was like, oh, ignorance of the policy is no excuse. Like, the law is. You broke a law you didn't even know existed, and they don't care. They'll just still throw you behind bars. And some states have some really, really weird laws. Like, I think one state has a law you can't drink milk on a certain day of the week. So, it's real. Look it up. Some of the laws are like really stupid.
Handling sadness.
Yeah, and some of them make you go, who was the person who made them come up with that law?
I remember reading one law saying do not frown in the presence of an officer.
Yeah, some of the law. Yeah, like I said,
I
some of
think
the
that's
laws.
New Jersey law.
Yeah. How the fuck did that come into being?
Some are stupid. And ignorance of the law is no excuse. You're expected to know every single law in existence, and each state has different laws too, plus all the federal laws. Anything else?
Oh, does the QR code change, or can we just technically take?
No, it's a different code every day because of that. And the code also doesn't open until 15 minutes before class and closes 15 minutes after class.
One more question about WebAssign. Is it, like I've run into this a couple times before, is it finicky about like radicals and denominator, stuff like that kind of formatting?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It might have been like that for like algebra courses because
Right.
in algebra courses you're not allowed to have radicals. Not allowed
Oh, yeah.
to have radicals in the denominator, which is a complete and total lie.
Right.
It shouldn't
Okay.
be for here.
Okay.
Another question. How often are we going to use WebAssign? Because I've never used it.
Figure every day. Just about with every lesson there's going to be a WebAssign homework associated with it.
Okay.
So quite often. It's not hard to learn. They give you a toolbox for math entry as well. Plus, if you know the shorthand, you can use that. So it shouldn't be too difficult. But if you've never used it before, if you've never used any online homework system, give yourself plenty of time to get used to it.
Does it like send notifications?
No.
Ah.
It should tell you the error though. Like if it's just a simple syntax error, it should tell you it's just a syntax error, not that your answer is wrong.
No, I meant like notifications.
But
on
it will-
certain-
It does not give you notifications on when assignments post. But I do try to do that in class.
You mentioned we have to pay for it.
Yes, unfortunately, they do require a payment for a registration key. But with OpenStax, they tell me it's between 26 and 40. Versus some of the books have like a $115 fee if you buy the book without the code. So you'll spend like $150 on the book and then have to spend another $110 on the license. This one, the license is fairly cheap. Like I said, Calc 1 I verified was $30. But they don't let me see how much it's going to be for this. So it depends on the course in the book. I would assume this one's probably going to be a little bit more than that because the book is thicker. But until you actually sign up, I don't know the exact cost. And the advantage of that, at least, is you have a dedicated help staff at WebAssign. The other one that I used was a free one, and they didn't have a help staff, and it was just riddled with errors. And I took a poll of using it, and a lot of students would have preferred the paid version versus the Micromath, so I'm trying this now. Hopefully it's better. Anything else? So let's do this. We have just about 40 minutes. So let's say until 6:10. Introduce yourselves to each other. Exchange contact information. Form study groups. That's the best way to. It's one of the best ways to learn math is to actually discuss it amongst your peers. At 6:10 for the last 30 minutes, I'm going to open up the WebAssign the prerequisite diagnostic, and do some of the review questions, kind of just review the prereqs. And then on Thursday, we'll actually start Calc 3. So it's about, let's say, 11 minutes, 12, somewhere between 11 and 12 minutes until 6:10. So that time is yours.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and continue.
So I have a lot of water questions I need to figure out first.
Have you done it?
I'm pretty sure after I finish Calc 2, I need to take the extra.
So let's get back into class mode.
Nice meeting you guys.
It's nice meeting you, Sam.
Time's up already. Never long enough, is it? I think I'm going to start backwards with the prereq stuff. So the first 30-something questions on the prereq diagnostic is all algebra. So I'm going to work backwards and start with Calc 2. Polar coordinates! Hope you remember them, because we're going to use them when we get to multiple integration. Do you remember the... Oh, that's going to be annoying. Let me see if I can contact someone to readjust this. I think it's just too zoomed in. See if they can zoom it out so it fits on the entire bloody screen. That's going to be annoying. I'm going to have to move you. Yeah, of course, it loves to do that on me a lot, too. That should be fine there. The conversion relations to go from rectangular to polar.
Is it x equals r cosine theta?
That's the other way.
Oh,
I will be using those as well. That's to go from polar to rectangular. That look familiar? Yes, and then you have x equals r cosine theta to go from polar to rectangular, and so collectively those are our four relations. Equation in polar coordinates of the line through the origin with slope 1/2, which means first let's write out the rectangular equation for that line. So what's that equation?
Y equals 1/2 x.
Now convert to polar. Generally speaking, we like to write our polar relations in the form of r equals f of theta. So while you are not technically incorrect if you divide by r, that's not generally what we want to do. Which means it's going to be a problem, isn't it? I'm still going to wind up with like r equals 0. Well, that is a problem, isn't it? How do they want me to write it? Probably this way then. probably the relation they're going to want. Let's see, that's what WebAssign load. As soon as it decides to load. It's getting very slow. No, that's not what they wanted.
Can we do arctan of 1.5 for theta?
You can't do inverse tangent. I would agree you could write tangent theta equals a half, but you wouldn't write inverse tangent. Theta equals inverse tangent, because it's not necessarily true. What's the range of the inverse tangent?
Oh yeah, that's the one.
It's only half the unit circle.
Right. You can't. So you can't say theta equals 30 degrees. Okay.
Would they take? Would they take that? No, they didn't take that one either. And cheat. Oh, lovely. You still want to take forever. You're probably right. They're probably doing is they're going to try and write it as tangent theta is 1/2, so what is theta equal?
Well.
Just got an alert on here. Nope, still showing. Okay.
Well.
So that'd be what? Theta equals.
If you can't say arctan of 1/2, right?
What does tangent equal 1/2?
Well.
Does tangent equal 1/2 of a nice angle? gonna type it in and see if that's what they want for this purpose. That is what they wanted.
Arctan of 1/2.
I wouldn't use that
Seems
because that's not the full line.
right. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's not the full line. But that's what they did. I'd accept that as well. Really, any of that I would
Like
accept.
y equals and everything after that? Or, I'm sorry.
Like, I'd accept that. I would accept the previous one. I'd accept this.
Okay.
Because they're all relations that define it.
And the equation, the polar equation is theta equals arc sine of 1/2, right?
That is what WebAssign
That's what
wanted.
they say. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Like I said, I personally would not use that because that's actually a line. It's not really a segment, but it's only half the line. It would only go from 0 through the first quadrant. It wouldn't do the other direction because that would be pi plus the inverse tangent.
Okay.
So you'd have to plot both of those to get the full line. Which is why it's really annoying that that's what they wanted, but whatever. What do I know? I'm not smart enough to write a textbook. Again, the bloody coming on the screen. At least I have nice guides, though. Nice slides with the lines. So worst case scenario. Determine whether the improper integral converges, and if so, evaluate it. So do you remember how we would do an improper integral?
You do from 0 to n, and then depends on this.
That's the official way to do it. I'm going to do shorthand. Because I'm lazy and don't have to write out like every time. So if you see something like e to the infinity, that's not e evaluated at infinity. That is an implied limit. Specifically, that's implied to be the limit of e to the x as x goes to infinity. It's just we deal with infinite limits so often that we don't have to keep writing out the limit every time, so we came up with that shorthand. So that's the route I'm going to go. I'm just going to write it as evaluating at infinity. Is there a discontinuity? No. So it's just the infinite interval that makes it improper. How would you evaluate that?
Substitution.
What are you substituting?
Never mind. Well, try u equals 1 plus 2x. I mean, I'm sorry, 1 plus x squared.
I also generally don't write out the u substitution.
Do you mind if I?
You can. I'm just saying. Generally speaking, in class, I don't. From Calc 2 and beyond, I generally do it in my head. So what's du? 2x what?
Yes.
Well, the denominator is u squared. Do we have a 2x dx? We do.
16 that we can reduce to 2.
How would 16 become 2?
Take out 8.
So you're left with 8 du in the numerator. However, we did a change of variable. You were going to say something?
I was going to say we could just technically take the 8 and put it to the side.
Well, that's exactly what I did. We did a change of variable, which means the limits have to change. Right? The original limits are for x, not u. When x is 0, what's u? When x tends to infinity, what does u do? So we now go 1 to infinity. Oh. That is an easy integral. What is that antiderivative?
So, let's see, negative 8 over u from 1 to infinity.
Negative 8 over u is your antiderivative. Now remember that first term is an implied limit. What's that limit?
0.
Which means you're left with 8. Yeah, we're converges to 8. I hate that terminology.
So for example, you said the solution notes. Could we use, I guess, like our projects and our quizzes as well?
Part of your notes, aren't they? You just won't be allowed to use your textbook.
That's in addition to the 4 printouts. Okay.
I don't use that terminology,
Which-
indefinite integral versus definite integral. An indefinite integral is an antiderivative. A definite integral is just an integral, specifically a Riemann integral. There's also Lebesgue integration. That is measure theory, which is a grad topic. So we won't get into that. So when I say integral, I do specifically mean a definite integral. If I say antiderivative, I'm referring to the indefinite. So evaluate that antiderivative. How would we go about it? I'll give you a hint. This is technically a Calc 1 integral.
Q equals 1 plus x to the 4.
Because you do that with du.
Well, it's 4x to the 3rd.
You're gonna have 2 extra x's left over in your differential.
Okay.
I think that we can, technically take the square root of 1 and then the square root of x.
Not allowed to do that. Well, I mean,
Let's say x squared.
you can, yes. So you're not taking the square root. You're rewriting
You're
it.
technically rewriting it
Yes.
as a square root in a way.
So 1 plus x squared squared. How does that help you? Because you're correct. That's the path you want to go down.
We can switch that up for that one equation.
I saw a hand. Yes.
1 plus x squared, parentheses, multiply that by 1 minus x squared, so that's like,
We can do that.
That's not a difference of squares. It's 1 plus a square, not 1 minus a square.
You say we want to change the denominator.
I win.
Is 1 over 1 plus x one of those special antiderivatives we're supposed to?
There's a special. Let u be x squared. Du becomes 2x dx. That's how it's going to be in 9ax. Then we get du over 1 plus u squared. Tangent. It's not tangent. Sine. The inverse tangent. The inverse tangent of du. Don't forget your constant. I have inverse tangent of x squared plus some arbitrary constant. Oh, good, they include the plus.
Can I ask a question? Now, I see how we got to that by starting with making this denominator 1 plus x squared. Like in your mind, what jumped out at you? What flagged that as the right way to start?
So that next in the numerator. And I know that 1 plus x du over 1 plus u squared is the inverse tangent. I know the derivative of x squared is 2x, so x there that way.
And then wind up with the standard.
The actual answer is I've been doing math for a really long time. So I just solved. Because I've been doing it for so long. It's not an answer anyone likes, but unfortunately that's how it goes. They told you you have to use a trig sub. Yeah, they told you you have to use trig sub. I wouldn't tell you that. I would just give you this integral and you have to figure it out. I'm not that nice. So I'm not going to have time to actually look into the entire process. We have 2 minutes left. So let's see how far we get. Factor out 4 first. 4 squared is 16. Now we use trig sub. This is the tangent substitution. I don't believe that's on my questions. So if you have the form u squared plus a squared or a squared plus u squared, it doesn't matter, they're the same. Then u is a tangent of theta, and a in this case is theta. Obviously, we know what the trig of that is. And with some algebra, you wind up with that. Substitute it in. That's what your integrand becomes. Then you just have to simplify it, evaluate, and back substitute, which unfortunately I said time for I'm out of time. So then your homework is to finish that. And I try to end the class with putting up a list of assignments that are coming due. See you Thursday.